So how do you find any meaning at all when the world around you is just completely falling apart? We're going to dive into that very question by looking at one of the most powerful war novels ever written, Ernest Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls. We're going to break down its massive ideas about what it means to be a hero, what duty looks like, and, of course, love. Right from page 1, Hemingway hits you with this. This quote from the poet John Donne isn't just the title of the book, it's the heart of the entire story. It's telling us right up front that we're all connected. Every single life, every single death, it matters to all of us. It sets this incredibly profound tone for everything that's about to happen. So, let's meet our main guy, Robert Jordan. He's an American, and he's volunteered to fight in the Spanish Civil War. He's an expert with explosives, a dynamiter, and he's been handed a mission that is absolutely critical. And, let's be honest, it's pretty much a suicide run. He has to blow up a bridge. Now, this whole story unfolds during the Spanish Civil War, which was this incredibly brutal fight between the rising tide of fascism and the Republican government trying to hold on. But Hemingway isn't just giving us a history lesson here. He's using this war to ask these huge, timeless questions, like, what do we owe to each other? What is love in the face of death? And how on earth do you live a good life when you're surrounded by chaos? To really get a grip on Robert Jordan, you have to understand this key idea from Hemingway's work, what's known as the Hemingway Hero Code. It's a very specific kind of character, and honestly, Jordan is probably the best example you'll ever find. So what is a code hero? Well, imagine a world where all the old rules, things like religion, patriotism, even honor, have just completely crumbled. In that chaos, the hero doesn't look to society for answers. Nope, they build their own personal set of rules, their own code for how to live and how to die. For them, meaning isn't something you believe in, it's something you do. So what does this code actually look like? Well, it's all about courage, especially under pressure. It's about keeping your emotions locked down tight. No panic, no despair. It's about being an absolute pro at what you do. And maybe most importantly, it's about looking death right in the eye and accepting it, and facing whatever pain comes your way with dignity. All right, so that's the theory. Now let's see how Robert Jordan actually puts it into practice, because he is the living, breathing embodiment of this code. You know, it really helps to put Jordan side by side with a more, say, traditional hero. Your classic hero might be all about big ideals, wearing their heart on their sleeve, maybe seeking a bit of glory. Jordan, he's completely different. He's not driven by ideals as much as by duty and just being good at his job. He's quiet, controlled, and he's not looking for a medal. He just wants to do the work well. It's a much more modern, down-to-earth kind of heroism. And this is absolutely crucial. Jordan is fighting for the Republicans, for sure, but he is not a blind fanatic. He sees the horrible things his own side does, and it eats him up inside. His sense of right and wrong comes from himself, from his personal integrity, not from just towing some political party line. Okay, so we've got this incredibly disciplined hero on an impossible mission. But in a life that's all about duty and facing death, is that it? Is there any room for something like hope or warmth? Well, that brings us to someone new, someone vital. And here she is, Maria. She's a young Spanish woman who has been through things you just can't imagine, at the hands of fascist soldiers. When Jordan meets her, she's shattered. But trust me, she is so much more than just a love interest in this story. You can really think of Maria as playing two huge roles in the novel. On one hand, you have her ideological function. She is the living symbol of Spain's suffering. Her pain makes the whole political conflict brutally real. But then there's her biological function. She represents life itself, warmth, hope, and the future. And as she and Robert Jordan fall in love, Maria slowly starts to heal. This personal journey is incredibly symbolic. It represents the hope that Spain itself, this country that's been ripped to shreds by war, might one day be reborn from all the destruction. And that biological function we just talked about, it's huge. Because in a story that's so dominated by death and duty, the simple human act of falling in love becomes this incredibly powerful act of defiance. As the literary critic Linda Wagner puts it, the relationship between Jordan and Maria isn't just some romantic side plot. Hemingway writes about their time together almost like it's a sacred ritual. It's all about creation, about life continuing, even in the face of total destruction. And this is where you really see that Hemingway hero code shine. Falling deeply in love doesn't make Jordan soft or distract him from his mission, just the opposite. It deepens his resolve.
Now he has something so intensely personal and real to fight for, which gives his duty an even greater, more profound meaning.
So you have these two massive forces, the hero's unflinching sense of duty and the life-affirming power of love. And it all comes together in the novel's final, absolutely unforgettable moments. So, the bridge is blown. Mission accomplished. But in the escape, Jordan is badly, mortally wounded. He knows he's not going anywhere. And in this final moment, his code is put to the ultimate test. Does he despair? No. He makes sure Maria and the others get away to safety, and then he stays behind, his weapon ready to buy them as much time as he can. He faces his end with total purpose. And you have to understand, his death isn't a failure. It's the ultimate expression of his code. He did his job. He protected the people he loved, and he met his end with absolute dignity. It's a moral victory that gives his entire life, no matter how short, this incredible, lasting meaning. So let's just pull it all together. What are the big takeaways? First, the Hemingway hero creates their own meaning through action and a personal code. Second, Maria is this amazing symbol of both a nation's suffering and love's power to heal. Third, in a world full of death, love itself becomes a revolutionary act. And finally, real heroism isn't about winning or losing. It's about facing a crazy, chaotic world with grace and a sense of purpose. Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. Hemingway seems to suggest that in a broken world, meaning is something you have to build through your actions and your principles. But is that the only way? It's the question the novel leaves us with, and man, it's one that still hits hard today.